What is up guys, and welcome back to the channel. And in today's video I wanted to talk a little bit about chopping samples and making variations on your patterns. Now I will be on the SP404 Mark II today, but if you are on a different device and you're not on this particular device, don't worry, because this is kind of just like chopping theory and you'll be able to apply it to whatever device you're using. So whether it's an MPC, if it's a DAW, you should be able to use this technique as well. So definitely follow along even if you're not on this device. Just before we start guys, I just want to say that there's 15% off absolutely everything in my store now until the end of the month. This is to celebrate Halloween season. At the checkout, use the word spooky for the discount and you get 15% off absolutely everything. Check out the links in my description to get to my store. I've got beat packs, merch, t-shirts, hats, all sorts of different things. So if you want to get 15% off anything that you've been eyeing up over the last couple of weeks, please go ahead and check out the store right now. Okay, so getting back into the topic of this one, I've got some beats here. I've actually demoed this beat a couple of times, I think, on the channel so far. It's just one of those ones. It happens to be a MSP and I quite like the sound of it, so I thought I'd use it again for this video. And what I want to show you guys is that because of the way that I've been chopping recently, it's given me this opportunity to create a new dynamic, and it just adds quite a nice vibe to variations that you create in your patterns. So what I'm going to do first is show you the main loop that I've got for this beat, the main loop idea, and then we're going to try and build a separate loop that complements this loop and hopefully includes this technique. It might not be perfect. I'm more concerned about showing you guys the technique rather than making a perfect beat here. But yeah, we'll go through that process and hopefully you can try this and apply it to your beats as well. So this is the main loop that I've got. Okay, and because of the way that I chop, like I was mentioning, I've got quite short chops on my pads. So I pretty much exclusively at the moment chop 4 bars into 16. So that gives me 16 equal chops and they're quite short. So here's a demonstration. You can see they're very short, but when played back to back, I can make longer phrases by combining them together. But the fact that they're so chopped up, it opened up this opportunity for me to be able to add in quite a lot of dead space with the sample chops, and the drums can keep playing underneath, and like I mentioned a little bit earlier, it just creates this quite a nice dynamic when you're listening back to the beat. So I'll give you a demonstration over the drum loop which I've got here. So this is the sort of thing I want to do. Okay, so not the perfect idea that I laid down there, but hopefully you understand what I'm trying to show you is that you can play a sample, leave some space, and then bring another sample in and kind of create a rhythm around that. Now, this isn't a particularly new technique. I mean, it's been around for as long as beat making probably, but because of the way I've been chopping my samples, this has kind of crept its way into my workflow when I'm trying to make little variations, and I kind of really dig it. So yeah, not particularly new technique, but I think it's really useful to be reminded about it. And I know this is kind of like a boom bappy beat, and it does suit this style of beat making pretty well. But I think even if you're making some lower energy stuff, I think this can work really, really well. So if it's jazzy samples or lo-fi style stuff, just try and give your samples a break and let the drums do the work for a little bit in one of your loops and see if it can work for you. And this is one of the difficult things about creating variations, is that you have to do it in a way which links back to the main loop seamlessly. So I don't know if that's going to happen in this video. I don't want to waste your guys' time trying to get this perfect loop working. So what I'm going to do is just record a variation. It may not work with the original loop in this particular example, but hopefully it just gives you the idea. So I've just copied a drum loop down there, vanilla drum loop. And that's exactly the same drum loop that's behind the main beat, or the main loop, I should say, sorry. So we're going to go to record 11. Grid is on 8, and I've got strength at 100%, so that's exactly the settings that I want. And I'm going to go record, and we'll try something here. Okay, perfect. That sounds really good. It's all on the grid, it's all in time, and I've got those pauses in. They sound nice. And I think that's not going to tie in too well with the main loop, but I think this could tie in very well with a variation that I've already made here. So you can see here, I've got 9, which is my main loop. I've got 11, which I've just built, and that's got the pauses in. And then I've got 10, which is a variation. So let's check out this variation. Okay, all good fun. I think that sounds quite cool, actually. I probably would work on something a little bit different outside of this video, but that definitely gets the concept across, which I'm trying to explain to you guys, those pauses, but they sound really nice. Now, another thing with this is that these pauses actually make adding effects on the fly, and this is probably something that is quite specific to the SP, unfortunately, if you haven't got this device, but it makes it a lot of fun as well. So in those pauses, it gives you time to play around and mess around with the drum sounds and add various effects. I'm a little bit cramped up here with my mic, so I'm not going to be at my A game on the effects, but I'll try and show you how much fun you can have with the effects when you've got little pauses in the chops like this as well. Maybe I'll just slightly move my mic for this. Okay, so for me that's just a lot of fun compared to just jamming on a full loop with full chops all the way through it. Those pauses just add a bit of a dynamic that's quite nice and fun, and hopefully that comes across, you know, in the sound of the beat. Hopefully that like energy is coming across. I really hope so anyway. So yeah, quite a classic technique in beat making, but definitely something you should try if you haven't tried before. Maybe you knew about this technique and you've forgotten about it. Either way, get on the SP or on your sampler, have a go at this and have a play around. It's a lot of fun and it's been really good for me for making variations. Until next time guys, keep making beats and I'll be back very, very soon.